let's talk about, I'm going to move on to the next review, a Hungarian device called the QZI Megatron. Now, you can get this device either just as a mod, just as an Addy, or you can get it both together as a hybrid, which is what I did here. So I hadn't used any other devices by QZI before this one. Sweet Jesus. I hadn't used any QZI devices before this one. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with this thing. Hold on, I need some water. No, they did the Mini Genesis Addy before this as well, and I haven't used that one. And there may have been other stuff as well. I'm not sure. Actually, Pega would know. He's from Hungary, and he can probably answer that better than I can. So if you want to chime in and chat, feel free, Pega. So where it, like I said, it's from QZI. Let me actually throw up the website real quick so you guys can take a look. I don't believe it's available for purchase on their website, but I'll put it in chat for you just so you can see. You can take a look there. It's available. I got it through a list on Vape Pit. They also have lists on Vaporwall. If you want to check that out, there's probably other sites where they are as well. That's where I'm familiar with them from. So that's the website if you want to take a look. The price on this guy is, you know, for a higher end mod, it's pretty reasonable. For a higher end mod and Addy, it's pretty reasonable, especially since you're not just getting a hybrid, you're actually getting a 510 device mod rather as well. So and it was, I believe it was under $250. I'd have to double check what the price was with PayPal and shipping and everything, but I think it's under $250 total for everything. It comes with I actually got an extra tube with it as well, and it was under $250. So it comes with, I know you can, Pega. I'm going to show that. So, hold on a sec. Just pull up my notes real quick here. I know, despite it's hard to believe that I actually have notes for my show. Let's talk about the Addy real quick. So, the Addy is rebuildable Genesis style atomizer. It does not have a 510 connection. It has the Megatron base. It's designed for use with the Megatron. You can set this up with a dual coil or a single coil or a U-wick. It has adjustable airflow, which I'll get into, 4.5 millimeter juice capacity. It is stainless steel, and the tank is plexi. It is not glass, but it's strong plexi. I just wouldn't put fluid or something super volatile in it. You know, typical 510 drip tip. Total length on it is 58 millimeters without the drip tip. The diameter of the base is 22 millimeters, and the diameter of the atomizer itself is 20 millimeters. It fits perfectly on the QZI Megatron. It also fits on other devices, such as, I just want to show this to you real quick. I'm not going to vape it on this guy, but for example, if you have a Caravella with matching finish, mixed brush brass or brush stainless and polished stainless, it looks really friggin' nice on this. So as you can see, I've got the polished and brushed finish matching there, and as you can see on the top cap, that polished stainless steel looks just like the polished stainless on the bottom cap, and it looks really nice. And basically you can turn your Caravella into a hybrid if you want. You can do the same thing with other 22mm devices. I haven't tested it out, but I would assume that it works on a bare brass mod, a GP PAPS, a Gus 22. There are probably other devices as well. The mod you can get in multiple tubes. I have the 18500, and I think it's at 500. Yeah, I know, showing off the Caravella. So I have the 18500 and the 18650. I'll show you what the mod looks like on its own. Nice clean look, 22mm standard top threading, mechanical 510 mod. It's got a cool little logo on it. This is the QZI mods logo. It's not going to focus for me, of course. There we go. Series 21. I don't know. I don't know actually if that's a serial number or if Series 21 is something else. I'm not sure. That might be a serial number. I don't know. But anyway, actually, what am I doing? Taking the battery out. So that's with the 510 connection on it. It's a fully usable mechanical mod. You can put any 510 device on there that you want to. The mod is actually, you can get it in 350, 650, or 500. I think if you purchase it on its own, you can either get 350 or 650, but they had the option to buy additional tubes, which I got a 500 one as part of that. The length in 350 mode is 77mm. It's 107mm in 650 mode. Like I said, it's 22mm diameter. I believe the stainless steel is 304, which is more conductive than 316. The connections appear to be all brass, and the positive connection is adjustable so that you can get your 22mm atomizer to sit flush on there. And it does have a lockable bottom switch. So we're going to use it in hybrid mode for the review. What all does it come with? So you get if you order the full hybrid version like I did, you get the mod, you get the 510 cap like I showed you. I got an extra tank with it. And you also get a little bit of Kanthal, a couple of plugs, some extra O-rings, and you get a little screw that you can use to fill the second wick hole if you want to use it as a single wick. I'm going to get to that, Naughty. You're ahead of me. We'll get there, though. So, you're reading my mind. Get to that in a sec, though. Bear with me. Hold on one sec. So, those are the dimensions. The air holes on this thing... Oh, no, it's okay, Naughty. Don't worry about it. The air holes on this thing are fully adjustable. There's actually two, okay? And you can see this ring around the top. This allows you to... Focus. There we go. So that ring around the top there, that allows you to adjust the airflow. You can set the airflow up so that it's a single wick or a single air hole over one of the wicks. You can set it up as dual air holes over both of the wicks, and then you can adjust the how open those air holes are by just making slight adjustments to that ring. So it's pretty cool. So you can really do whatever you want with the draw on this. If you want to set it up with a dual wick, you can have air traveling over both wicks at the same time. If you want more throat hit, you could set it up with a dual wick. and only keep one of them open, so the other one's really going to get a lot hotter. So I mean, you have a lot of options with, you know, how you adjust the vape and how you set this up: single, dual, U-wick, changing the way the air flows through the atomizer. It's really pretty cool. It's very cool, actually. I haven't seen anything quite like this design with the top cap. I like that a lot. I also like the look of it. I think it's really clean looking. It's a little, you know, that ring. I don't know that I love what the ring aesthetically, but it's such a cool feature that I don't really care. I mean, and it doesn't like, it's not like it looks bad. It just, yeah, I usually like nice clean lines personally. So, but that's fine. Personal preference thing. So, like I said, the firing. Actually, I'll get to the button in just a second. It's really tall. That's one thing I don't love about it. I usually stick to more compact mods. The iHybrid is a big mod, okay? It's taller than the iHybrid. Okay? It's a very, very tall device. Now, granted, you know, you can set it up in 18350 mode or 500 mode if you want to shrink that down a little bit, but it is very, very tall. Yeah, I agree, Naughty. But that's okay. It's certainly not a deal breaker. It's such a cool feature. I just, you know, I don't really mind too much. But so it's very, very tall. One thing that I didn't love about the device. It's got a good weight to it. It's not too heavy, but it feels sturdy. I don't have, you know, battery rattle. You know, it feels well made. The 510 connection on it, like I said, is adjustable. It's got an adjustable pin. You can see in here. That's adjustable. And because it does have a spring in there as part of the, not as part of the contact, but to prevent the battery from touching the bottom contact, you don't need the battery part of it to be adjustable, just the part that's touching the addy, because there's some give in there because there is a spring, like I said. So the internally, and this is where we're going to get to the part that I don't, and I'm sorry QZI, but this is the part that I don't love about the device. So the firing mechanism is really big, okay? There's nothing wrong with the way that it fires. I haven't had any issues with voltage drop. I haven't had any issues with it firing properly. It fires perfectly every time. It's got a nice flat connection point with the battery, as you can see there. So I mean, it's got a lot. It's not, you know, sometimes you have issues with a brass screw that like is rounded up to a point and you have a very small contact point with the battery. Not a problem with this. It's a nice round flat surface. The issue is just that the button design makes the device so much taller. And I prefer a more compact button design. Functionally, there's nothing wrong with it, though. So I just want to be clear about that. That, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the way that the button works. Also, I don't love the way that it locks and unlocks, because yes, the bottom cap does screw on all the way. I haven't had any issues with that. The way that you unlock and lock the device is you actually unscrew the switch itself, okay? So instead of there being a lock ring, you unscrew the switch, and you just kind of have to guess about how far you have to unscrew it for it to fire, because there's going to be a little, you know, there's going to be a throw. Like if you unscrew it this much, for example, it's not firing. So you got to keep going, and then, you know, when there's a little gap when you push it down, that's when you know it's firing. So I don't love that. It's a similar design to that's how the Cube was, for those of you who have seen the Cube. So No, not my favorite switch. The way it fires, though, it feels great. The switch feels fine. It's not too stiff. It's not loose or anything. I mean, it feels good. I can, fire it with my pinky. You can fire it from multiple angles. You can fire it with the palm of your hand if you want to. So that's not a problem. It's just, not my favorite design. Just because, like I said, you have to, you kind of have to guess how far you're unscrewing it to fire it. So. Not a huge deal, though. Yeah, like Chris said in chat, though, it does feel very smooth. The threading on it's very smooth. I mean, you can spin it. Did you see that? So, here it's unscrewed, and then I'll give it a spin there, and it's locked closed all the way up. So it's very clean threading, and it's got a nice feel to it. So, what else? Under the hood, this is where it gets crazy, okay? So it's got big old wick holes, like 3.5 millimeter wick holes, so you can set up really fat wicks and get some crazy wicking. It wicks amazingly well. You can also set up dual wicks because it's got dual raised negative posts, and it's got a the single positive posts in there. Aw, thanks, Ghost. And then obviously, it's got the the fill hole that you can fill or not fill depending on how well you want it to wick, etc. So, but take a look at this. So I've got it set up with a dual coil. Each one of those coils is 1.5 ohm. So this is at approximately 0.75 ohms. Yeah. So I mean, the dual wick setup wasn't that difficult on this device either. I didn't really have any problems with it. I did, just because I haven't done a ton of dual wicks before, I did do some oxidation on it before I put it in. I didn't oxidize the wicks inside the tank. You can see those are unoxidized, but I did do some oxidizing just to be safe, where it's touching the addy deck and where it's where the coil's touching it. So yeah, 0.7's good. I usually go 0.8, 0.9, but I also usually go for something that's a little less airy and has a tighter draw, so if, it feels like a... I won't get into the details, but you know what I mean. Maybe. And if you don't, no, too bad. So, how does it vape? Let me say this. The vapor production on this thing is absolutely stupid. Why the negative posts are raised like that? I'm not really sure, Chris. I mean, maybe it's for ease of setup. I did find it extremely easy to set this device up. I don't know. Not really sure. However, the vapor production from this device is absolutely ridiculous when you set it up with dual coil. Regardless of whether I set it up for tight draw, open draw, whatever. Hold on, you'll see. I'll take a nice big pull here. So, I don't know if you can tell just how thick that vapor is that's coming out of this device, but it's stupid. It's really warm. It's got really good throat hit. Now, I know a lot of this is because that's set up with a dual wick and a dual coil, and that's fine. The atomizer is designed for that, so that's how I'm going to review it, okay? But, I mean, it's absurd the amount of vapor that this is putting out. I mean, hold on. I mean, I wanted to do it from the side there so you know it's not just super thick with me blowing it at the camera. It's really, really dense, thick, very flavorful vapor. Even with the, like I said, even with the holes open as much as they will go, the flavor is still really intense. And then it gets more intense as you close it, and you get a little less vapor production, but it's still very high. So just for example, I'll show you. I'm going to close this off a little bit so it's a little bit tighter draw. Okay, I'm closing these down to maybe about a third of the way open. Watch this. Still really thick. Not quite as thick as when you have it open all the way. But God, I mean, I don't know. I can't drop down to 3 milligram, but this thing is making me think about it. That's a ridiculous amount of vapor. Yeah. So that and that was with it set up with a tight draw ghost. So, you know, I just opened it up a little bit again, and you know, when you tighten the draw, the vapor is even warmer and even more flavorful. So, yeah, I mean, I think both holes are 1.5 millimeters. So if you have it open up on all the way, it's super airy. But even with that, even with it being open all that way and it being super airy, it still has really good flavor. Then when you tighten it down like I did to about a third of the size on each one of those holes, so I guess, so you know, you're looking at, well, it wouldn't be 0.5 because a third of the, I'm not gonna get into pi and actually do the math right now, but it's probably about the same draw as 2 1 millimeter holes, if you tighten it as much as I did, and it was still like punching crazy vapor. So yes, they do sell it just as an Addy. However, it is, if you're going to buy it just as an Addy, one thing that you need to keep in mind is it is designed specifically for the Megatron. This is not something that they sell with the intention of it being used with other devices, so you can't assume that it's going to work with other devices. I don't want to get QZI in trouble here and say go buy the Megatron and put it on another device, or go buy the Addy and put it on another device, because it's not designed for that. It's designed for the Megatron mod. However, if you want to buy the Addy, you can, and then you may have to purchase different screws for the negative post to get it to tighten down with your so that your battery doesn't rattle and the battery is snug. But you know, it's a standard metric threading. I'm not sure what size, and you can get different length screws to screw into the hole in the base of the atomizer, and then put it on a PAPS or a Caravella or something like that. So yeah, it is. I mean, like I said, the vapor production is stupid on this thing. You know, the mod itself, the mod's nice. It's well made. You know, it's a little long for my taste, but you know, it hits nice, it fires nice, it's got really clean threading, it's good overall, I like it. It's a little too long. I think the switch design maybe isn't ideal. But the Addy, and as a whole, as a hybrid, as a whole, it is a killer device. I highly recommend this atomizer, and I highly recommend it as a hybrid. You know, if you don't mind that it's a very large device, very tall, man, it has punch, especially with the dual coil. You know, and I meant to mention, I did set it up with a single coil initially, just to test it out with a single coil so I could speak to that. It still has excellent flavor and vapor production with the single coil, but setting it up with the dual coil, man, I mean, you saw it. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to take another puff and try not to give myself a headache from nicotine overload. But yeah, it is not 510 though, Ghost. It is just it is Megatron threading on the bottom. That is what they call it. But good Lord, hold on. my lord. That is delicious. Oh. I mean, and this thing was like just I mean, now what problem? Here's another negative. It's not really a negative. It's certainly nothing wrong with the device. You will plow through juice on this thing if you set it up with a dual coil like this. This was almost full. You know, 3 hours ago. I vaped it a little bit before the show. Most of the vaping is what you just saw me do, and I'm just tearing through the juice in this thing. So yeah, but you know, the better flavor and vapor production and more intense the device, the harder it hits, the more juice it's gonna vaporize. That's just the way it works. So yeah, that'll nuke your juice supply. Oh, Fred actually was on camera before you came on, Naughty. He was sitting on my shoulder when the show started. So, but anyway, so yeah, like I said, just summing up real quick. Overall, love it. It's an awesome hybrid. Well done, QZI. Really good stuff. Only things I don't love about it, it's a little tall. You know, it's taller than the iHybrid, and that's a big device because of the way that the switch is designed. And I don't love how you don't know how far to. I mean, you get used to it. You just kind of know how far you have to twist it to get it to fire when it's unlocked. Just from use, you kind of get accustomed to it. But I do prefer a lock ring to this style, even though it does work really well. And like I said, the threading on it. Look, I mean. Oh, there we go. Give it a spin, and now it's locked. So there you have it, the QZI Megatron. Good stuff.